Hey guys, welcome to part 7 of the White Label tutorial series. In this part we're just going to run through the code that we've already got, and we're going to tidy it up, create a few functions to do some of the repetitive tasks that we've already got going. So after briefly going through some of the code, I've found out that we're actually removing the main the main tasks we're doing quite a lot is based around items. We're removing and we're adding items quite a few times throughout the script. So what I'm going to do is, firstly, I'm going to take all of the all the times that we add an item to the player's database, and all the times that we remove an item from the player's database. So on the equipment page alone, we add an item to the player's inventory. I think it's about 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. We've got it once here, here, and we have it once here, so that's twice, and the 3rd time there. We also remove items quite a lot as well. As you can see here, we remove an item twice on this in this script alone, and in various other places. So the first thing I'm going to do is we'll go into our functions script, and we'll just make a new function and call it give item. And I'll just bring this down so we can have it here. Now, when given an item, the only things that we need to pass over to this function is the item ID that we are that we're adding to the database. So within our give item function, I'm just going to open up a variable and call it x, and then we can take this chunk of code here and place it into our function like this, and just change the item ID to x. The session, session's user ID is should be able to be grabbed any time, and we'll also add in this global connect variable. Now the other function that we're going to make is take item. And this function will need to take 2 parameters, so we'll call them x and y. X being the item ID, and we also need to pass through our current quantity value, like we see here, which will determine whether we're going to be deleting the item or just removing it. Removing one from the quantity. So we can take this bit of code here, place it into the function, and we'll just change up the variables in here. So it's now if y equals 1, we're going to remove item x. We'll also place in this global function, or the global connect variable, and those are our two functions created. So rather than having to repeat this bit of code multiple times, we can just run this function and feed it the parameters needed to work. So excuse me, now that function has been put in place, we can remove that portion of code and again up here we can just replace that with our newly created function. So I've now gone through our current scripts and I've removed the if and else statement and replaced it with the take item function that we've created. As you can see here on shop.php, we've taken this bit of code and replaced it with our take item function, and that appears once on this page. In our inventory page again, oops, it appears once, and that's when we're removing the item after using one. And on our equipment page, obviously there was two instances of it, one there and one there. So now for the for adding an item. As you can see here, this query appears 3 times on our equip page. Sorry, there and down here. So what we can do is we can take our give item function, come back over to our equipment page and paste it paste the item in, the function in, and obviously replace our X value for an item ID, and we can delete that whole section there. So that's the 3 instances of that function replaced on the equipment page. We've also got the same function to go into the hunt page, so we can place that here, and we just replace X with row ID, and we can remove that. Now the only other page it appears is in our shop.php page. So if we take that function and find out where we're buying an item, which is right here. Notice the extra $sign in there, and we're just giving the item ID. So that should be it for our giving items and our taking items functions. I don't think there's any more that we need to cover. Not yet, anyway. Okay, so now we've tidied up the code a bit. The next part is going to be securing a code. Now, after going through the code, there really isn't anything to overly worry about at the moment. So we won't worry about so much securing the code in regards to gets and posts. There is just one tiny hole in the shop code which I want to sort of plug up now. So what I'll do is I will go through and fix the hole, and then I'll come back and explain exactly what I've done. Okay, so the hole I have now plugged up in the shop script is if someone is on a shop view or not in a shop whatsoever and modifies the URL and says sell and then gives an item ID, then they can just sell any item or buy any item they wish without properly, going through the right channels. So to stop this, what I've done is I have put in a little if-else condition which checks the item that they're wanting to sell or buy is in the stock list, and I'll show you how that's done. So firstly, I added if is set, like the is set of get visit into the first if, and I've then taken that visit ID and then run a query to get the stock list for that shop. I've then broken the stock list down into an array and performed an in array function, checking the ID that they're wanting to purchase inside of the this stock list array. If it is in there, then all's good, they can sell their item. If not, it says this shop doesn't take this item. Again, with the buy, it's the same thing. I've added the set visit, taken that ID, run the query, produced a stock list array, and performed the in array again. And if that item isn't in the array, then we just put out saying this shop does not stock this item, and that's that whole plugged up. So I'm going to end this video. Is a quick part on just securing and tidying up some of the code. I'm not sure what we're going to do on part 8, not yet. But if you have any questions, suggestions or otherwise, come over to the Tapt-In forum and just go to the white label tutorial section and post anything there. Okay, so until next time, I'll see you then.